first of all, I've brought in some pictures, some photographs. I got these photographs on pexels.com, and I've already cleaned, most of the photograph away. I do want to show you one little thing though. If I add a layer, another layer, this is the way I use the eraser tool to kind of smooth out around the eyes after I had use the process where I select and then I go to float, add a new layer, how I cut it out. But then I came back around with the eraser tool, added a new layer like I showed you, pull it underneath, and then I'll come in and just kind of smooth it out like so. Oh, wait a minute, I'm on the wrong layer. Come up here to the the actual layer, and this tells Gimp that there's something beneath it and it's okay to erase, I guess. I guess that's the best way to explain it. So this way, it's going to look a little more, a little bit smoother when I get into, when I put it into the next, when I put it on, when I animate it. So anyway, I'm going to go into right click, and then I'm going to merge down. So I'm going to merge my layers all the way down. And it's really important that you merge your layers down after you've selected and built these characters to make sure everything's flattened out before you bring them all together. And I'll explain it to you a little bit more as in the next steps. So I want to make a GIF that I can animate. And the thing about GIMP is that when I make my files, I don't want to make it too big. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say 500 right now, 500 pixels and on each side. So it's not too terribly small, but it's definitely not too terribly big. And then come to advanced options and make sure this is the X and Y resolutions on 72. Okay, because remember, we're going to put these online. This is going to go on our Google, and we're going to use this with our Google sites a little bit later. And RGB color, of course, and make sure that you use 8-bit integer. If you go higher, then it gets, Gimp doesn't like to animate. Okay, so make sure that's at 8-bit. Your gamma right here, keep that there. Built-in RGB, keep all of that there. And you can say fill with background color. You can also go transparency, and so there's a lot of options you could play with there. I'm just going to say background color, because I'm fixing to fold it. It's going to go to white anyway. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so I'm going to say okay. And so this is my new template. Oh my gosh, it's pink though. I didn't want it to be pink. So with my foreground color being white, I'm going to get a paint bucket and boom, make it white. So now I'm going to have a nice crisp white background. The next step is I want to get my character. And so I'm going to open up my character. As you can see, if I come over here, this is kind of cool with GIMP. You can see this is my brushes. I have all this control up here at the very top right. I can look at my gradients right here. Then I can go into all kinds of stuff. This would be the document history. I'll go into all of this later up at the top. Right now, we just want to focus on making this animation. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and look at my document history so I can pick up all my documents that I need. And I can see here's my eyeballs that I edited and saved, and I'm going to bring those in here and put those up here at the top, because that's what I want to do. I want to add my eyeballs to the character. But first, I want to get this character over to the new document that I made, right? That I created just to make an animated GIF. To begin, I need to make sure that all of these layers that I made when I selected, remember when I brought in all of these different photographs and selected them, I want to make sure they're merged down. So I'm going to go here, right click, and merge down, like so. And make sure everything is all on the same page. Now I can go copy, and then come back over to the document that I want to put it in, and paste. And look how it's huge. It's gigantic. It's so much bigger than than the document image. And this is the reason why I wanted you to start initially with making your 500 by 500 72 DPI image, because of this, because I knew it most likely you worked really big when you created this, right? So let's go to view, and we're going to zoom, and we're going to come way down so we can see everything. See how much bigger that is than what we would actually want to put online. So I'm going to go in now, and I'm going to select, now that I can see everything, I'm going to select my transform tool. I'm going to come over here and use my transform tool. And I like the middle. If I grab this middle square, it doesn't distort anything. And I can just do that and then move it. Wait, I didn't want to move the middle. What I want to move is the actual, whoop, I'm having a problem here. Move it in. Make sure it fits that little square, like so. Okay. And now I'm going to go to view, zoom. Let's make it a little bit bigger so I can kind of see a little bit more what's going to happen. And look, we can just kind of make her fit just right there. Now, to get rid of all these marching ants, I'm going to go ahead and select my move tool, and da-da, she magically fits right in there. And then I'm going to do the old trick. It's a, whoops, something fell. I'm going to get my floating selection, and I'm going to make it a actual layer. Then for this image, I want to go ahead and I'm not going to animate her. I'm going to animate the objects that I put on over her sunglasses. So I'm going to go ahead and again, I'm going to merge her down, merge this layer down. So now everything is in the background. It's all on one layer, and I'm naming it background. Okay. So anyway, now let's go to the image, and I'm sorry, go to view. I want to make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go to zoom, and this time I'm going to go zoom. I'm going to go to 50%. See if I can make it bigger. There we go. Let's make it even bigger than that. View, zoom. I'm going to make it 100%. Now, there we go. The next thing I want to do is add the eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and select these eyes that I cleaned up, that I found on Pexels.com, and I'm going to say copy, and then come over here and say paste. And again, they're huge, so I'll get my trusty where is it? My trusty transform tool. Ugh, and I have to go. Of course, I have to go back to zoom. I zoomed in. I zoomed back up too soon. Make sure I got this. And whoa, I turned them around. Bring it in like so. Move it up like so. Move it up. I'm make up here to view. Ah, somebody's bugging me. Let's go to zoom. Bring it back up to another size like so. And basically just get it to fit into my glasses is what I'm doing for this character. And remember, with this transform tool, I can still come into the sides and make it like, I can still distort it a little bit, especially like that's what the corners do. I can make it a little bit bigger and kind of push it in a little like so if I want to. And let's make it like that. I'll make her a little bit further out. So I didn't want the eyes to touch the frames of the glasses. That's what I was working on just now. So now that's kind of cleaned up. So what I'm going to do is, again, green means go. I'm going to select the green dot, and I'm going to make a layer out of that I just selected. Okay, so for this animation, I really don't want to animate her eyes either, do I? I just want to animate that little wink. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to merge this down as well. So merge down. Uh-oh, Command Z. Where's my layers? Oh, they didn't get let's make them. Apparently I didn't save it. I mean, I didn't. Here, let's try it again. There you go. Now we do that. And I'm going to go ahead and select a move tool so it's saved it and it's stuck after I selected that move tool. And then now it's going to save. Now I'm going to go down to click here. I'm going to say merge down. So now it's all part of the same picture, right? The next part that I want to do is I want to get the little wink and I'm going to add it to here and we're going to animate it. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to go copy and I'm going to come back here and I'm going to go paste. Now we've got the float. So I'm going to, before I make it a layer, I'm going to go ahead and make it the size that I want it to be. And I can distort it. Remember, if you press the middle one, I'm going to go ahead and make this bigger. View, zoom, 100. Now I can see it a little bit better. There we go. And I want to cover that little corner some. So let's see if I can kind of move it and like that, like that. There we go. Kind of blend it in a little bit, just to kind of make it. All right, then I'm going to select the move tool again, the little crosses, and that's what I have. Now I'm noticing, you see how the skin tone is a little more, it's not as pink and bright as the other eye. So what I think we should do here now is, first of all, let's make it a layer. Let's make it official. So now it is an official layer. I'm going to call it wink. And I want to come up here to color. And let's go and do, we could do let's do curves. Curves is my favorite. And just kind of brighten it up a little bit so it matches the rest of the eyes and the tongue and the rest of the photographs, and it looks bright. There we go. Okay. So now that's what we have. So what we're going to do by curves. So this is the way this animation is going to look. You can see that I still have some area over here that I really need to erase. So what I'm going to do now, I think what I should do before we do the animation is I'm going to go ahead and make another layer and bring it down under the wink. This is all, what I'm doing right now is just, and let's fill it with white because I just want to clean everything off before I, let's see, I can see the haze right there. So I'm going to come in, view, and let's zoom in a little bit more. Yeah, see all that? Ick. So I'm going to come in with my eraser brush, make sure I'm on the wink, and I'm going to erase it. Get it erased. Let's make sure that my brush is size, because it looks like it's getting a little too big and it was actually going in on my eye. So I want to come in and clean that up. Like so. And I could probably bring the opacity up, make it stronger. That would make it better too. So, and then there's a little down here that could be cleaned up. Okay. So now I'm going to take that, dump it, and oh wait, I don't dump it because you know what? We're in Gimp, we're not in Photoshop. And there's the eye, and it looks a little bit better. I could still probably come in and clean some of that up with the eraser tool, but it definitely looks better. So, and remember, this is going to be a smaller file. So I'm going to come in now just for demonstration purposes. I'm going to go to View, and let's make it back to 100% regular size. And the thing you may recall in Photoshop, when you would make an animation, you would go and get a timeline, and a timeline comes down at the bottom. And actually in Photoshop, it the timeline, it works from the top to the bottom. It's different in GIMP. It works from the bottom to the top. So if I had other animations, if I wanted to add to this animation, it starts playing at the bottom, then the next layer, then the next layer, then the next layer. So for this animation, we just have two layers. So we're just going to do that. But as you move forward and you make your animations more complicated, just keep in mind that it's opposite of Photoshop. It moves from the bottom up, okay? Now, let's go ahead and we'll just play it. Let's just try it out from what we've done so far. I'm going to go to Filters, I'm going to go to Animation, and I'm going to go Playback. And this is just what it's going to look like as we play it back. And then I can go play. And you see it's like kind of blinking crazy. It's funny. It really is kind of cute. But I want to show you a little trick so I could slow down or wink if I wanted to. And it also loops automatically. So I don't necessarily have to do that when I publish the photo anyway. Now remember, as I just said, GIMP works from the bottom up. As Photoshop, the animations are from the top down on your timeline. But there isn't a timeline in GIMP. Instead, we're going to say how long we want the animations to last just right here on the layer. And what you'll do is you'll click the layer name and you're going to put it in parentheses and you're going to do it by milliseconds. So that's MS. So what you'll do, milliseconds. So I'm going to say 1 millisecond is 1,000. So I'm going to say I want this, for the eyes to be open for, say, 2 milliseconds, 2000 ms, close parentheses. And then I want the wink, and then I'm going to come to the wink name, and I'm going to go space, parentheses, 1000 ms. Okay. So now let's see how it works, how it comes out. If I go to Filters, Animation, Playback. Okay, now it's going to do something a little bit different. Hopefully it'll do something different. There we go. I got a little bit. So now it's a little bit more subtle. Or it could, it is. It's a little more subdued. She's not blinking hysterically. Okay, so anyway, that's how I did that, how I control. So remember, in GIMP, you don't have a timeline. You have to control it. You control by milliseconds on the layers panel by space, parentheses, and then type it by the thousands, ms, close parentheses. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to export this as a GIF. And this is the way you're going to do it. Go to Export. No, I'm sorry. Don't go to Export. Go File, Export As. And GIMP is kind of weird because initially I've already done a GIF, but it'll probably come up with the last file that you've just exported. So if you just did a PNG or you just did a JPEG, it's going to come up like with untitled JPEG or PNG. For GIMP, you have to actually type in the GIF. Okay, so I'm going to say test.gif. You actually have to type it in. And where am I going to put it is a good question. I'm going to put it on my desktop. And I'm going to say export. And then this comes up if there's any kind of, oh yeah, it's going to say, do I want to replace it? Yes, I want to replace it. This comes up. This is what I was going to say. This comes up. It'll say if there's actually a layer that's extending beyond, past the windows that I've done, it's going to ask if I want to crop it. Just say, yes, I want to crop it. And then this box is going to come up that's going to say, it's actually going to, it most likely won't be checked. You do want to check this and make sure it says as animation. Okay. And then you can actually tell it to loop forever, or you can tell it not to loop forever. I'm just going to go ahead and let mine loop because I think that's fun. This is just a fun GIF of my character winking, and I want her to continuously wink at you. Now, on this part, delay frames were unspecified. This is for the frames. If you have any frames over here that don't have, that you didn't put the milliseconds next to, that's what this is asking about. If what do I do with the frames that don't have milliseconds by them? So that's what you're going to set there. And then the rest of this frame disposal where I unspecified, I just put, I don't care, don't matter, okay? And then I go export. And then, let's see, now I've got this is what I came up with was test. And I'm going to drop it into, now, first I'm going to open it. Let's open the test. And you'll see that this is basically the same kind of GIF that you got in Photoshop, where you'll have several panels depending on how many animations, how many layers you have. You know, here is how many pages you'll have. Because remember, this is like a flip book animation. That's what GIMP does, and also what Photoshop does. Okay, so for mine, I only had 2 layers, so I've only got two pages in my flip book. I'm going to go ahead and just drag it and drop it into Google Chrome, and let's see what Google Chrome's doing. And that's what we just made, just like that. And it's that simple. So you can take your GIF file, and you'll be able to use this on your website or in social media, however you want to use it. That's simple. But really, actually, this doesn't make sense. I wanted to show y'all how to make that animated GIF, and I left some things out. Like, for instance, why are her eyeballs on top of her sunglasses? That doesn't make sense. So I had to go back. I'm going to have to go back and fix it. It turns out that I found the file before I had actually merged all the layers down, and I found it over here in my documents over here in GIMP. Isn't that cool? When I selected this, and all of the layers came up that I hadn't flattened yet. So I did have that file. I did have that file still available. I really like GIMP because of that. So what I'm going to do now, I think, is I'm going to cut the glasses out, and I'm going to put her eyeballs in the back. I mean, on the inside without any black showing. Washington Post, you're jet bugging me. Delete. You're driving me nuts. They got all kinds of news for me all the time, and I'm up to date. I'm up to date. Okay. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and select. I'm going to use my my lasso tool, and what I like about the lasso tool is I can hold it down and drag and make this nice line. I don't have to keep dragging up, picking up, and now I want to pick up there because I was running. I'm just using a trackpad, and then I can set it back down and just carefully move my finger around my trackpad. And then I lost. Oops. Go back. And I know I'm kind of going off the black line, but I can fix it. I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix that in a second. But I'm not doing a dot, and anchor point, and then adjusting it. What I'm doing is I'm just gliding my hand on the trackpad, and then when it gets the yellow dot, and I see the marching ants, I know I've made the selection. And you can see there's some areas where down here I've selected that it's a little bit out of a little bit. I don't know. I'm pretty close using that method. But what I can do is I can also get my transform tool. I love this transform tool, and I can actually manipulate it a little bit if I wanted to, like so. If I wanted to manipulate that selection just a bit, if I wanted. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is, you remember the drill? We come up here to select, float, and this time I don't want it there. I'm ready for it to be gone. I'm going to select, instead of making it a layer, I'm going to select the X, the red X. Red means stop, so take that out. And I just cut that out of the glasses. And I'm going to do this to the other side and then put the eyeballs in, my new eyes in again. So I'll be back.